This time on Allies or Enemies, we are talking about Dorfromantik the board game, designed by Lucas Zach and Michael Palm, which, as the title suggests, is indeed a board game. Saving us from another final girl incident. Dorfromantik is actually based on a video game, which we haven't played, but which we are told is A, fun, and B, feels very much like it should be a board game. Well, good news. It turns out you were right, and it really is fun. Dorfromantik, which only gets more fun to say each time, is a co-op campaign game that has players working together to build an idyllic countryside. But how exactly do they do that? Let's take a look at how it's played.
In Dorfromantik, players start with stacks of two kinds of tiles and an open table full of possibility. Each turn, one player draws a tile and places it on the table with at least one side touching at least one existing tile, in whatever orientation they want, as long as they don't block a river or train track. After the first three tiles, which must contain two landscape tiles and one task, players will draw from the task stack if there are less than 3 active tasks, or from the landscape stack if they already have 3 tasks that they're working on. Tasks specify what kind of landscape they need and exactly how many tiles must be used to create an area to complete them. These will make up the bulk of your points, along with smaller scoring such as having flags in sealed off territories or building long train tracks and streams. At the end of the game, you add up all of your points and compare your score to the campaign sheet, which lets you open up boxes to gain new tiles and special goals. And then you mix it all up and play again.
We have been playing this one again and again and again. At first, we weren't sure how replayable it would be, as it's basically just a co-op best score challenge. But a campaign that drip feeds you content is incredibly motivating. And after 16 games and counting, we are still not quite done collecting everything and finishing every goal. The special goals you unlock are particularly motivating, as they often force you to focus on various aspects of the game, and can be surprisingly tricky to get just right. And the new buildings add different rules at just the right rate. Although you could just open everything at the start, if, say, you were a monster, you wouldn't want to, because that pace of new stuff is so good, and it gives you an excuse to play again. At first, we thought it was ludicrous how many campaign sheets they put in the box, but we are already itching to get the last few things done so we can pack it up and start it all again.
This is basically a big box of tiles, and those tiles are nice with lovely art that is both quaint and functional. It's super clear what kind of landscape is what and where it ends and where it joins. The tasks are all easy to spot, and all of the special tiles are marked plainly, although we won't show you those, so you'll just have to believe us. The insert also does a great job holding stuff both at the start and once you've unlocked it all, and the boxes that tantalizingly hold all of the extra bits slide in snugly. The only complaint that we have here is that the score sheets are way too dark, which can make them super hard to read when you're adding things up. And it is a legitimate annoyance, but otherwise, this is a super slick production.
Dorfromantik feels a bit like Micro Macro when it comes to its co-op style. It totally works solo, but it is more fun if you have 1 or 2 partners to help solve the puzzle and just experience it all with you. But any more than that can be a bit too many cooks. The box says 1 to 6, but we'd probably cap it at 3 or maybe 4 if you all work well together. However, even though it is totally playable on your own and still would be a fun puzzle, we have really enjoyed having someone else to help keep an eye on everything and to be impressed when we find the perfect place for that crazy half-river, half-train tile.
We love Dorfromantik. This one hit us right in the sweet spot. It's super relaxing building a little tile countryside, but there's enough of a puzzle, and there's also just enough motivation pushing us to try to do that puzzle just a bit better each time. It's a bit like a less mean Carcassonne. You still have the terrific map at the end and all the tile placing, but fewer knights get tricked out of their homes by larger groups of more spatially aware knights. Few things to keep in mind, however. First of all, this is a light game, so it's going to be a better fit for folks that want more of a comfort game experience. Also, this is a game where the journey is at least as important as the destination. There isn't really a way to lose here. You maybe just don't win as much as you could have won. So if you need that feeling of definitively winning or losing, this might be an awkward fit. But if you are someone that enjoys a bit of team play, likes tile placement and spatial puzzles, enjoys a campaign, and loves building out maps on their table, Dorfromantik is like a cozy blanket in a box. And that is it. Have you played Dorfromantik? What other tile placement games do you like? And also, thanks to Jonathan for pointing this one out in our campaign video. Please also like and subscribe, and hopefully we will see you all next time for another game.